Welcome to our tutorial on how to complete your retirement forms. This applies to members in any of the NDPERS defined benefit plans only. Defined contribution members should visit the NDPERS website for information on the retirement process. Before viewing this video, please watch our presentation on what you need to know before completing retirement forms. When you are ready, obtain your forms packet and let's get started. Here is a snapshot of page 1 of the forms packet. Typing your information at the top of the page will automatically pre-fill it onto each form. In addition, each category is identified as either required or optional. Not all of the insurance forms listed are required, as it will vary based on your age and your eligibility. We'll visit more about this later in the video. For currently enrolled members moving directly into retirement, we recommend that you submit your forms between 2 to 3 months ahead of ending employment. To avoid a delay in receiving your retirement benefit, be sure to submit your forms no later than the end of the month in which you have your last day. If you are a deferred member, meaning that you have a gap of time between leaving employment and drawing your benefit, your first benefit payment will depend on when we receive your forms. Your benefit begins the first of the month after we have your forms on file for 31 days. How to submit your forms? Well, you have 4 different options. First, you can scan and email the forms as a PDF to our submission email listed here. You can hard copy mail the forms to our P.O. Box address. Be sure to make a copy for your records. You may fax the forms to us, or you can drop the forms off in person. You can walk them into our office or use the night drop box outside the front of our building. After we receive your forms, NDPERS will mail you written confirmation. Be sure if you are utilizing the email option, do not use the JPEG, TIFF file, or any image file for the documents. We only take PDF documents. Don't forget to include copies of your birth and marriage certificates. We'll start with the application for Defined Benefit Plan Monthly Payments, Form 2562. Enter or verify your information in Part A, completing all fields. In Part B, we are asking for very specific dates. We will need your last day of employment, and this doesn't necessarily mean the last day you're working in the office. If you are vacationing out, meaning you're using up your annual leave to stay on payroll for a few weeks longer, we want to know the last day you are on covered payroll. The next line is asking for your paycheck date. And third, we are asking for your NDPERS retirement effective date. If you're employed by a state agency, this is typically the first of the month after your last day. If you're with a political subdivision, such as a city, a county, or a school, if your employer is on delayed payroll, your NDPERS retirement effective date will be the month after your last paycheck. Section 1 is for members enrolled in either the main plan or a public safety plan. Be sure you are making an election in both the left and the right columns. Ask if you are unsure what the payment options mean in the right column, as once you make this election, it cannot be changed. Section 2 is for members enrolled in either the Highway Patrol or Judge's Plan. If you are by chance a dual member retiring from more than one plan with NDPERS, you will need to complete one application for each plan. Moving on to Part C, members enrolled in the main 2020 plan can disregard this section. Otherwise, all other members applying will need to make an election for their retiree health insurance credit. Part D is where you make an election if you wish to purchase additional pension service credit based on your unused sick leave balance. Remember, this is a purchase. To learn more about purchasing, visit our YouTube channel or our website. Lastly, Part E is for your wet ink signature and date. This next form applies only to members who are under age 59 and a half at the time of retirement. Members younger than 59 and a half will need to acknowledge the federal and state return to work provisions outlined in Part B. This is a required form. Members of any age considering returning to work should watch our video to avoid certain tax consequences or a suspension of their NDPERS benefits. Follow the link on this page to access the video. The authorization for direct deposit is a required form, and it is used to identify where you want us to send your monthly benefit payment. At the bottom of Part A, mark the box next to Member. Use Part B to identify the plan you are enrolled in. Dual members in multiple PERS plans can either check the Apply to All box, or they can list which plan's payment correlates to this direct deposit form. In Part C, this is where you will designate to either have 100% or all of your monthly payment to be deposited into the account you identify below, or you can identify a portion of your payment to go into one account and the remainder into another. So if you intend to divide out your monthly plan payment between multiple accounts, please indicate that in Part C and use one form for each account. Then you have the option to either type or write in your bank account information, or you can attach a voided check. We do not accept deposit slips. If you are attaching a voided check, you can tape it to a separate blank piece of paper and include it with your form submission. The next form is the designation of beneficiary, Form 2560, a required form. You may ask if this form is needed if we already have your beneficiary information on file, and the answer is yes. A new form is required for all newly retiring members. Take a moment to verify your information in Part A and add your spouse's name if applicable. In Part B, select the plan you want this designation to apply to. If you are a dual member, you can either check the All Defined Plans or mark the specific plan for which this designation applies. In Part C, this is where you'll list your beneficiary's contact information. All columns are required, even Social Security number. If you have more beneficiaries than there are spaces on this form, please attach an additional sheet with that information. Ensure the percentages you list total 100% for both the primary and secondary beneficiary sections. If you elected either the 50% or 100% joint survivor payment option, you must list your spouse as the primary beneficiary. If you elected single life or a term certain benefit payment option, and you are married, you will need to ensure your spouse gives consent in Part D. If you've listed your spouse as primary, they do not need to sign Part D. So again, Part D is only used and signed by your spouse if you are naming someone other than your spouse as primary beneficiary. It is important that you keep your beneficiary's contact information up to date, so please make it a point each year to review and send us an updated form as needed. After reviewing the form for accuracy, complete your signature and date in Part E. Form number 51506 is a required form where you will designate your income tax withholding elections. Complete all of your information in Part A, and as a new retiree, you are marking the member field. In Part B, you are designating the plan for which this election will apply. If you are enrolled in more than one plan and wish to have a different tax percentage withheld from each pension payment, be sure to submit a form for each plan. The effective date in Part B will mirror your NDPERS retirement effective date. Part C discusses some guidelines around the federal withholding allowance and how to complete Form W-4P, which is the next form in this packet. If you wish not to have any federal income tax withheld, you can write no withholding in the space below Step 4C. If you have any questions on how to complete Form W-4P, you will need to visit with a tax professional. Part D is to designate your North Dakota state income tax withholding. In this box, you have two options. The first one being you do not want any North Dakota state income tax withheld from your pension check. The second box is to designate a flat dollar amount to have withheld from your pension payment. This form is only used for North Dakota residents, and if you are a resident of a different state, your benefits are taxable in that state. However, NDPERS does not withhold income tax for other states. Be sure you are signing on the bottom of this form, and please note that you can change your tax withholding at any time in retirement, and it is a good idea to review it annually. Form W-4P is used to make your federal withholding election. Just as you did when you started employment, you need to complete a W-4. Please complete your personal information in Step 1. If you have any questions on your federal withholding amount, please visit with a tax professional. If you do not want any taxes withheld, you can write in the words "Do not withhold" in the white space above the signature line. Be sure to sign the bottom of this form. While in retirement, should you need to change your withholdings, you can log into your member self-service portal and utilize our tax withholding feature. Form number 54373 is optional. The partial lump sum option is not available to early retirees, so you must have met normal retirement either through your age or by meeting rule. This option allows you to take a partial lump sum distribution equal to 12 monthly payments under the single life option. It's payable at the same time as your first monthly retirement benefit. You will still be eligible to select a joint and survivor benefit option as your ongoing retirement benefit. Your ongoing benefit will be actuarially reduced in exchange for the partial lump sum payment. You have two payment options to pick from. In Part C, you will check this box if you wish to have the lump sum payment included with your first monthly retirement payment. Be sure you're aware of the 20% federal tax under this option. Part C is used if you wish to have the lump sum payment directly rolled into an eligible account such as an IRA. Be sure you're completing all of the information in Part D if it applies. Part E, you'll sign and date, and be sure to include this form with your retirement application. Form number 59596 is another optional form. The graduated benefit option allows you to select your benefit as either a 1% or 2% increase per year. However, if you elect this option, your monthly annuity payment is actuarially reduced. The amount of the reduction depends on your age at retirement. You will still be able to select a joint and survivor option even if you select the graduated benefit. If you intend to purchase any of your unused sick leave hours for additional service credit in your plan, then you will complete Form 58358. Begin with filling out your information in Part A. In Part C, you'll project the number of hours you'll have of unused sick leave at the time you leave employment. Then, using the simple formula provided, you will calculate the number of months you are eligible to purchase. Then in the last field in Part C, you'll identify how many of those months you wish to purchase. If you are needing a cost estimate of the purchase, you can run a cost estimate on your member self-service portal. Then in Parts D and E, you will determine how you want to pay for the purchase. In Part D, you can check this field if you plan to write a personal check to pay for the purchase. Part E is selected when you plan to purchase through a rollover or a transfer from an eligible account. If you choose Part E, a rollover or transfer, then you will need to have your employer complete Part F. They will provide your projected salary for the next few months ahead of your termination date. Then closer to your termination date, we will verify with your employer the number of hours that are available and send you the purchase paperwork. Be sure not to miss your signature in Part G. We are now moving into the insurance forms section of the packet, and we're making an assumption that you have reviewed all of your insurance options for retirement and you know what options you want to elect. We have information on our website, in the retirement guide, and on our YouTube channel, so be sure to check them all out before moving forward. You are going to see two different COBRA election forms in this packet. And let's begin with SFN 53799. This form is required for any member who is currently enrolled in NDPERS health insurance. Let's go through a couple different scenarios. Scenario 1. If you do not want to enroll in insurance coverage under COBRA, you will simply complete Part A, mark Decline in Part B, and sign and date the form. If you're in this scenario, you can skip ahead in this video to Form 59562. Moving on to Scenario 2, if you have reviewed your options under COBRA and you want to enroll in either single coverage or family coverage with 2 or more dependents, check the level of coverage on the form, list the applicable dependent information, and indicate your payment method on the top of page 2. We do not invoice or bill for any COBRA premiums, but you may have the premium withheld from your monthly pension benefit, or we can withhold the premium from your bank account. If your monthly pension benefit is not large enough to cover the full monthly premium, you must select the option to withhold that premium from your bank account. The third scenario, if you are currently on a family health plan with NDPERS for yourself and only one other dependent, which is typically a spouse or a child, we allow you to change coverage from a family plan into 2 single plans to take advantage of the cost savings. Again, this option only applies if there are only 2 people on your family plan today. If you choose this route, the retiring member will complete this form, 53799, and elect self-only for the level of coverage. The other individual will complete our next COBRA form in the packet to enroll in their single coverage plan. Remember, if your retiree health insurance credit, or RHIC, can be reimbursed for any NDPERS retiree insurance, including COBRA premiums. We are now on SFN 14120, Continuation of Group Insurance Coverage COBRA. This form is used by someone other than the retiring member to continue their current coverage under COBRA law, such as in the example we previously discussed. Your spouse, child, or other eligible dependent would complete this form to enroll in their desired coverage. Their information is entered in Part A with the retiring member's name and ID number under the Current Contract Holders section. In Part C, they will mark Termination of Current Contract Holder and elect their desired coverage. Part D is to list the bank account where premiums will be deducted each month. Be sure to review the cancellation policy at the bottom of page 2, after which the applicant will sign. If you are eligible to participate in the retiree health insurance plan, you will be required to complete Form 59562, even if you plan to decline this coverage. Remember, if you are Medicare eligible, or your spouse or a dependent are Medicare eligible, you can join the retiree health insurance plan. For more information on this plan, including the current premiums, visit our website or the retirement guide. Start by completing your information in Part A and elect the retirement group you are a part of. In Part B, either decline the coverage or mark the level of coverage you are desiring. Retirees do not have an open enrollment period each year. Therefore, you can only join the plan upon having a qualifying event. In Part C, list the effective date of your new coverage and select the qualifying event, New Retiree. In Part D, list your dependent information, which is typically the spouse's information. On the top of the next page, you are required to answer a question about end-stage renal disease. Part F is not applicable for members enrolling under the qualifying event of new retirement. You can mark No here and skip to the bottom of this form to review the notice to the member. Page 3 of the Retiree Health Insurance with Medicare application. Starting at the top, Part G asks for your preferred payment method. You can either elect to have your premium deducted from your pension check each month, or have NDPERS draft the monthly premium from your bank account. Please review the cancellation policy disclaimer at the bottom of this form and sign Part H. The Dakota Retiree Health Plan is bundled with a prescription drug plan Part D. If you elect to participate in the Dakota Retiree Health Insurance Plan, Form 58860 is required for each person who is Medicare eligible. The retiring member will complete their information in Part A. The person who is applying for Part D enrollment will put their information in Parts B and C. Remember, the insurance effective date is always the first of the month after your NDPERS retirement effective date. Complete Part D with the information found on your Medicare card. If you or your spouse are in the process of obtaining your Medicare card and do not yet have it, please continue with this form, leaving Part D blank, and make yourself a note that we will need a copy of your Medicare card upon receipt. Moving on to page 2, bring your attention to the bottom of the form. This form cannot be signed or submitted 90 days ahead of the effective date of coverage. If your retirement effective date is May 1st, your insurance is effective June 1st. So count back 90 days from June 1st, and that is the earliest date for which you can sign. Are you currently participating in PERS life insurance? If not, remove this form from your packet and proceed to the next slide. If you have life insurance with PERS as an active employee, please be sure you have reviewed your options for coverage in retirement before you complete this form. We will not be going over those details now, but they can be found in our retirement guide or on our website under Life Insurance for Retired Members. Start by completing Part A and select your retirement group here. In Part B, the effective date for the insurance is the first of the month after your retirement effective date. If you do not plan on taking PERS life coverage with you into retirement, or if you've made plans to port your coverage directly with Voya after leaving employment, we'll need you to decline by electing the first box here. Then move to the bottom of page 2 and sign. If you plan to keep the same coverage or reduce your coverage, move to the next box and make your elections. Need to know what your current coverage is? You can find your current coverage on your member self-service portal under the Plan section. The current premiums in retirement are listed in the Retirement Guide. If you are 65 or older, please ensure you have reviewed your options for coverage. If you are continuing your life insurance, you will need to restate your life insurance beneficiaries, even if they are the same as what you elected for your retirement beneficiaries. Moving to Part C, review and elect your payment option here. On the next page, you will indicate your primary and secondary life insurance beneficiaries. Remember, contingent beneficiaries are like a backup to your primary beneficiary, and all the fields in this section are required. We need your beneficiary's full Social Security number, date of birth, and address too. Sign on the bottom and let's proceed. Form 53504 is a required form for all retirees, regardless if you elect or decline the insurance. Dental and vision coverage are not bundled, meaning you can elect one and decline the other. Just as we have on previous forms, complete your information in Part A and mark the retirement group for which you are currently enrolled. Then, making your election for insurance and coverage in Part B. List the insurance effective date in Part C, followed with new coverage and new retiree checked. If you are covering anyone else in your household, such as a spouse or child under age 26, complete their information in Part D. We are often asked if you need to restate your dependents, even if they are already on your insurance, and the answer is yes. Page 2 of the Retiree Dental and Vision application. Part E is not applicable for members enrolling under the qualifying event of retirement. You can mark no here and skip ahead to Part F. Here you are electing the payment method for the monthly premium. You can choose from either having the premium withheld off of your pension check or have NDPERS draft the monthly premium from your bank account. Review the cancellation policy at the top of page 3 and be sure to sign on the bottom. Members who currently participate in the NDPERS Flex Comp plan and have a medical spending account may elect to continue their coverage through the end of the plan year through COBRA. If electing this option, please make your designation in Part B as to how to pay for your premiums for the duration of the plan year. For more information on this option in retirement, please refer to the Retirement Guide. If you are currently enrolled in a NDPERS 457 Deferred Compensation Plan, this form may apply. If you participate in a 457 with your employer that is not affiliated with NDPERS, do not use this form. If you will be getting a lump sum payout for accumulated annual leave and sick leave, you can use this form to defer all or a portion of that payment on a pre-tax basis to your 457 account. The tax deferment applies to state and federal tax only. FICA and Medicare tax will still apply. If electing this option, you must complete and submit this form 1 month prior to your date of termination. Begin with completing Parts A and B. Disregard Part C of this form. In Part D, check box 5 for the lump sum sick and annual leave payout. Please indicate if your regular monthly deduction for that same month should be excluded. You are required to write in your last day of employment here. It's always a good idea to give a copy of this form to your employer to ensure your lump sum deduction is entered correctly. Use Part E to ensure your deferral does not put you over the IRS allowable contribution limit for the current year. Part F is where you will indicate the dollar amount you want to defer into your 457 account. NDPERS cannot help you calculate this amount, and you should work directly with your HR or payroll contact for assistance. Please sign on the bottom and submit this form with the rest of your retirement packet. Our hope is that you found this video helpful in completing your retirement forms, but should you still need assistance, help is available. You may contact NDPERS to request a counseling appointment either by calling. You may log into your member self-service portal and request an appointment, or you can send us an email at ndpers-info@nd.gov.